It began like any other day at the Storage Wars property. Fast bids, louder arguments, and a lot of garbage. However, for Brandi, this auction seemed different. Something about one particular unit piqued her interest. Everyone else saw it as worthless. To her, it appeared promising. And when the contents were ultimately revealed, the entire group recognized they had witnessing history being made. Inside the dusty storage container was a rare and costly collection that had the show's specialists scurrying to check the statistics. The final figure was a stunning $1.2 million. But first, let's start from the beginning. Born in 1980 in Harris County, Texas, Brandi grew up surrounded by brothers who, as she has publicly stated, enjoy beating the heck out of her. It may sound harsh, but Brandi credits her turbulent childhood for developing her grit. In an interview with Lifetime, she joked about how all that roughhousing was the perfect preparation for the male-dominated world she'd ultimately conquer in Storage Wars. To back up her case, she once published a childhood photo of herself with a black eye on X when it was still known as Twitter. For her, it was more than just a tale. It proved that being tough was not an option. It was about survival. She stated it explicitly in her line of work. If the guys see a weakness, they'll take advantage of you. Brandi learnt early on to stand her ground. But her life before reality TV was a whole different story. During an episode of the Spirit Talk podcast, she described her childhood as chaotic, stating that she frequently felt like an outsider, even inside her own family. She admitted that she used to wonder if she was adopted since she didn't feel like she fit in. Many individuals accept their circumstances, but Brandi never did. Even as a child, she felt there was something more out there for her. Long before Storage Wars elevated her to celebrity status, Brandi had entirely different goals. Growing up in Houston, she wanted to be a chef. Despite her smart, confident on-screen presence, she has confessed that she is naturally bashful. In an interview with My Lifetime, she chuckled about how shy she used to be as a child. Her protection technique was to give people filthy stares rather than speaking to them. That combination of hardness and sensitivity persisted into her early years. In a Facebook video, Brandi said that she played softball for 9 years, demonstrating the competitive nature that would later come in handy on storage lots. Her childhood, which was chaotic, boyish, and rough around the edges, provided her with the grit she needed to succeed in an industry characterized by strong personalities. Before becoming famous, Brandi was simply another young woman trying to make a living. In 1999, while working at a carpet cleaning firm, she met her future partner, Jared Schultz. He happened to be her supervisor, and Brandi described him as persistent and relentless. She informed the Philippine Daily Inquirer that Jared had worn her down. Jared, of course, has a totally different account of the story. In a Facebook Live session, he joked that Brandi was the one doing the chasing, alleging she basically pursued him after getting hired. He said that dating an employee wasn't the best idea, and that a friend had to post notes on his truck urging him to treat her nicely because he might be a little rough around the edges. Jared frequently joked about the mismatch, claiming that he wasn't exactly winning her over with his looks, so he relied on humor and persistence. However, Bry's perspective dramatically changes the narrative. She stated that Jared was continuously hitting on her, which was more awkward than romantic at first. Nonetheless, effort paid off. According to all accounts, their beginnings were marked by a personality clash. His obstinate appeal matched her quiet fortitude. In the end, no matter which version of the story you believe, one thing is certain. It works. Brandi and Jared started dating. From there, their adventure accelerated quicker than either of them could have anticipated. Brandi and Jared may not have married, but they have raised 2 children together, Cameron and Peyton. For the most part, they have kept their children out of the spotlight. Though Brandi has revealed some of their family's experience, particularly the health issues they've had over the years. During her interview on the Dad Diary podcast, Brandi discussed PTON's rough start in life. PTON was born deaf and with a cleft palate. She had her first surgery at the age of 6 weeks, and happily, it returned her hearing. Peyton's experience resulted in a small speech impediment, so she underwent years in speech therapy. Brandi added that later on, joining her school's cheerleading squad improved not only her speaking but also her confidence. Cameron experienced his own health concern. During a normal urological examination, physicians noticed a tumor on his kidney. It took months of monitoring before his symptoms deteriorated and required a lengthy hospital stay. Brandi recalled spending 3 months with him at the Children's Hospital of Orange County. 3 months away from high school revealed his strength. Brandi adored being a mother, but she soon realized that staying at home full-time was not for her. In an interview with My Lifetime, she stated that, while she loved her children, the experience made her feel alienated and miserable. She believed that working would make her a better parent. While Brandi focused on raising their children, Jared went into the mortgage industry. But when the late 2000s recession came, everything changed. He unexpectedly found himself out of work and without unemployment benefits. As he subsequently told the Orange County Register, finding a new job wasn't easy. Then came an unexpected lifeline, Jared's aunt, who maintained a storage facility. She informed him about the auctions performed for unpaid units, which sparked an idea. Jared and Brandi soon began attending the auctions, bidding on lockers and reselling any expensive goods they discovered. Before long, their house was brimming with discoveries. Brandi even quipped that they were one step away from being unhoarders. That's when they decided to convert the mess into something beneficial by occasionally opening their own second-hand shop. When the shop first opened, Brandi worked part-time, dividing her time between the store, her children's classrooms, and her personal life. As business picked up, the pair continued to attend auctions, a decision that would change everything. One day, during an auction, Jared struck up a conversation with a TV producer who was developing a new program concept involving storage auctions. Months later, the same producer called and arrived at the business with a camera team. Brandi happened to be present that day and quickly drew their notice. According to Jared, the producer inquired about her identity and whether she felt comfortable going on video. That footage was used in the pilot episode of a new show called Storage Wars. At the time, neither of them had any clue how huge it would grow. Brandi later told the Saline Courier that they didn't think much of it and decided to tape a few minutes for fun. However, that simple decision paved the way to reality TV fame. Their natural chemistry and continual back and forth made them ideal for television. On the show, they were dubbed the Young Guns, a duo recognized for their high energy and friendly competitiveness. Brandi rapidly became the voice of reason, countering Jared's tendency to overspend and pursue dangerous transactions. Fans adored their dynamic, rapid comebacks, fun arguments, and the way their personalities clashed but nevertheless clicked. They quickly became fan favorites, especially after one remarkable early win. In Season 1, they took a significant risk by outbidding another buyer and spending $1,700 on a locker. When they opened it, they found gold. A valuable collection of old toys and collectible action figures valued approximately $12,800. It was the kind of score that every bidder hoped for. But, underneath all the excitement, cracks began to appear in the Storage Wars empire. Dave Hester, a cast member, began to suspect the show's authenticity. By 2012, his worries had escalated into a full-fledged lawsuit against AE&D and the producing business Original Productions. Hester said the producers were manipulating the results, claiming they'd salt lockers by inserting precious objects to make the discoveries appear more spectacular. He even cited specific instances, such as allegedly discovering ancient newspapers reporting Elvis Presley's death or a BMW small car hidden under trash. He believed that certain findings were too good to be true. In his case, Hester claimed that the show was not merely modified, but wholly manufactured. He accused the producers of scripting cast interviews, organizing auctions, and even paying for lockers that stars couldn't afford. And if that wasn't enough, he said producers even paid for a female cast member's plastic surgery to improve her on-screen appearance. Tabloids instantly linked the accusation to Brandi Pianti, citing her weight reduction and outfit changes between seasons. However, Brandi put an end to the allegations. When a fan asked if her breasts were fake, she simply said, "No, Jacka," and left it at that. She's also laughed off odd internet rumors about her being an exotic dancer or having 2 fingers, playing off the wild side of reality TV stardom. Brandi is adamant about the show's realism. Storage wars are real. She said that because storage auctions are public, meddling with them is unlawful. She stated that only the editing is staged. The show concentrates on the intriguing lockers, not the boring ones. As she expressed it, not every unit is a jackpot, but that is simply how the business works. Nonetheless, Hester's allegations cast a long shadow. Andy wasn't pleased to be accused of faking its biggest hit. At the time, Storage Wars had millions of viewers, second only to Duck Dynasty. In response, the network dismissed Hester and initially declined to comment publicly on the lawsuit. When they finally did, they stood by the display, maintaining that there was no staging and that all things were genuine. However, AE's legal defense presented a slightly different story. Instead of openly rejecting everything, they invoked the First Amendment, claiming that producers had the creative license to shape the show as they saw fit. Their lawyers even noted that only game shows are legally obligated to be completely authentic. Storage Wars, they claimed, was not one of them. Tom Beers, the show's creator, later revealed that they script roughly half of what viewers hear and often blend the greatest items from different lockers to keep things interesting. Nobody wants to spend hours watching others sift through mountains of rubbish. The idea was to create terrific television, not a documentary. Eventually, the lawsuit reached an unpleasant compromise. A judge dismissed some of Hester's claims, but allowed his wrongful termination lawsuit to proceed. He was seeking $750,000 in damages, claiming he was sacked for speaking up. Andy argued that the show's artistic choices were permissible under free speech legislation. Finally, all sides reached an agreement, and amazingly, there appeared to be no bad blood. The contract also allowed Dave Hester to return to the show. But fans had no idea what was in store for them after the courtroom drama. Bry's life changed dramatically in the fall of 2012. Overnight, intimate photographs and a video of a lady who resembled her began circulating on an adult website. What's the problem? It wasn't her, but the site's owner didn't care. They stated that the woman in the video was the star of Storage Wars. The turmoil could be traced back to a name that everyone on the internet recognized. Hunter Moore. Moore's website, Anyone Up, launched in the early 2010s. Was notorious for uploading pornographic content without consent, causing a digital nightmare for everyone caught in its path. He has even been banned from Facebook for linking stolen profile photos to sexual content. When that door closed, he simply moved his operation to Tumblr and Twitter, where he posted the phony video, claiming it was of Brandi. Brandi first learned about it when messages flooded her Twitter feed. She made it apparent from the start that the film was a forgery, but this did not mitigate the harm. Later, she characterized the event as horrifying, claiming her biggest concern was that her family would come find the footage online. Determined to clear her name, Brandi sued Moore, accusing him of defamation, invasion of privacy, and consumer fraud. The court documents described her amazement and shame, underlining that she never recorded such a film or had any communication with Moore. The phony content was prepared primarily to capitalize on her fame and increase attention to his website. She sought $2.5 million in damages. Although she officially won the lawsuit, the court only gave her $750, a symbolic triumph that left her feeling hollow. To make matters worse, Moore insulted her on social media following the ruling, demonstrating that he had learned nothing from it. The intrusion into Bry's privacy was not the only occasion her appearance garnered unwanted attention. Fans have long complained that disrespectful comments regarding her attractiveness were widespread online and even appeared on the broadcast itself. A particularly awkward incident occurred when castmate Barry Weiss made a provocative joke about dipping cigars in brandy. On the surface, it appeared harmless, but most viewers interpreted it as a crass play on her name. The exchange instantly became one of the show's most discussed moments. Fans on communities such as Reddit and NeoGAF couldn't stop talking about how plainly unhappy Brandi was, criticizing Weiss' comment for going too far. Even years later, that clip is frequently used as a warning that women in the spotlight often face far more than what the public sees. But, behind the headlines and lawsuits, the show was about to uncover something far darker. One of the most disturbing revelations in the entire show occurred in Season 5, Episode 5 of the A&D reality series. Brandi opened a locker that was so disturbing that she almost hesitated to unpack it. The first indication that something unusual was going on surfaced instantly. A painted deer skull, not a phony one. It had ritual-style beads wrapped around its antlers, which immediately set an unsettling tone. Even so, Zach Carter couldn't resist kidding, picking up an old petrified ear of corn that had been laying next to the skull and pretending to chew it. Bry's response summed it up perfectly. She didn't want any of that in her shop, but that was just the start. As they went deeper, the finds got increasingly unsettling. There was a bag filled with preserved chicken bones, another with what appeared to be human hair, and a bizarre rattle constructed of bird beaks. The most surprising find, however, was a wooden ritual scepter carved with the picture of a man carrying a chicken on his head. Brandi couldn't help but question aloud whether it was something a chief would hold during a sacrifice. However, everyone hoped that wasn't the case. Despite the frightening collection, Brandi and Jared chose to acquire the locker for $900 and managed to profit from it. Still, one has to wonder what happened to that strange scepter. Then followed another breathtaking moment, one that blended fear and disbelief. Schultz accidentally bowled over Pianti while rummaging through another locker, only to uncover something out of a nightmare, a case filled with human teeth. Schultz tried to remain cool, assuming they were sophisticated dental implants, but Pianti claimed they were actual individual teeth. In the end, they were both correct. The crew took the horrifying find to the OCS Dental Academy, where experts confirmed it was a collection of old dentures. Medical-grade wax was used to adhere individual teeth to dentures decades ago. Despite its age and rarity, the collection was only worth about $300, a pittance for such a terrible find. But the surprises did not end there. In Season 6, Episode 2, Schultz discovered what could be the strangest locker yet, a gigantic rideable My Little Pony plush doll. The toy itself didn't raise any eyebrows. That is what it said about the prior owner. Brandi mentioned that there were documentaries on adult My Little Pony collectors, known as bronies. Schultz's astonishment did not last long. As Pianti fought playfully to keep the big pink pony for herself, Schultz discovered the true treasure, a massive bin filled with My Little Pony toys and memorabilia. There are hundreds of them. Clearly, this locker formerly belonged to an avid collector. Then came the revelation that would haunt anyone's dreams. In Season 8, Episode 18, titled Bison Dolls, Brandi and Jared discovered a doll that appeared to have come straight from a horror movie. Peeling skin, lifeless eyes, and an unmistakable haunted air. Naturally, Jared couldn't resist taunting Brandi by making the doll speak in a frightening voice until she was utterly terrified. When they took it to Dr. Tony, the doll doctor, his response was both amusing and disappointing. On a good day, the terrifying doll was worth around $50. Brandi determined it was best used as a chew toy for her dogs. Bry's favorite find was shockingly basic. During an interview with the Happening Now with Hammer Newport Beach podcast, she stated that she preferred pragmatism over dazzle. For her, the best finds were those that could be sold fast for easy money. That is what made the enterprise worthwhile. She also discussed the less glamorous aspects of the work. On television, those moments when purchasers discover a safe may appear exciting, but most of the time they open it to find nothing but a piece of paper or, in her case, a binder packed with cutout photographs from adult magazines. Despite this, she remains optimistic because the life-changing jackpot may always be found in the following unit. Brandi also revealed one of the production hurdles for the show, obtaining filming clearance from storage firms. She revealed that prominent corporations such as Public Storage refused to allow the crew to film on their property. From their perspective, it was simply lousy business. After all, they didn't want to publicize the notion that if you missed your payments, your goods could be auctioned off on television. As Brandi put it, there's a reason there isn't a foreclosure show. No corporation wants to draw attention to that aspect of their business. In her opinion, the storage chains operate just well without the spotlight, and they'd prefer keep that uncomfortable truth hidden. But just when viewers thought they had seen everything, Bry's real-life narrative took an unexpected turn. When the 2021 season of Storage Wars debuted, people instantly noticed something odd. Brandi Pianti and Jared Schultz were no longer together. Brandi announced the news herself, stating that she and Jared had divorced and would now bid independently. Jared reiterated this idea, stating that they could still attend the same auctions, but not together. However, not long after the season's premiere, Brandi and Jared's relationship deteriorated. According to TMZ, a few weeks after the April 2021 premiere, Brandi was out with friends at an Orange County pub when Jared arrived. They got into a heated argument, so Brandi asked him to leave. He declined. According to witnesses, the scene escalated, and police were eventually summoned. Brandi claimed that Jared shoved her twice before leaving the scene. When police caught up with him, he denied any physical contact, but he was nevertheless charged with 1 count of misdemeanor domestic violence battery. Following that occurrence, Jared disappeared from Storage Wars. The network never announced if he had been dismissed, but his absence said loudly. In contrast, Brandi appeared to thrive on her own. She kept bidding solo and achieved some excellent results. One outstanding scene was when she paid $35 for a storage unit and asked her friend and co-star Kenny Crossley to assist her sift through it. She bribed him with food. That gamble paid off handsomely. They discovered a Victorian sewing set worth $900. The entire locker ended up earning her more than $3,000. And indeed, Crossley received his well-deserved home-cooked lunch. Brandi Pisanti's life looks a little different now, but her motivation remains the same. She's still the same Texas-born treasure hunter who wowed viewers when Storage Wars initially debuted. The main difference now is that she is doing it alone.